In this video, we are going to be converting rates and measurements using something that we call dimensional analysis. Basically, we're going to be converting rates from one unit to another. For example, if we're going to convert 760 miles per hour and convert it to miles per minute, let's see what conversion we have. First, we have distance. We have miles to the distance of miles, so there is no conversion right there. And then we have a time conversion. We have hours to minutes. So we have to convert hours to minutes. So what I did first is I took the information that they gave me and I set it up as a ratio. So they said 760 miles per hour. So when you set that up as a ratio, you say 760 miles over 1 hour per hour. Now, since there was no conversion for distance, that didn't change, all we have to do is convert from hours to minutes. So what you have to do is think, what is the conversion between hours and minutes? So think of the smaller, minutes are smaller, so you say how many minutes are in an hour. If you do not know that unit conversion, I have given you a unit conversion sheet. You can look it up. What we know is that there are 60 minutes in an hour. Once you know what the conversion is, you'll see that we have two sides to this conversion. We have 1 hour and we have 60 minutes. We're going to take these two and we're going to set it up as a ratio right here. Now we have to decide which one goes on top and which one goes on bottom. Now this is not like setting up proportions like we've been doing. This is not an equal sign right here. When we were setting up proportions, if miles was on top, we wanted miles on top of the second one, but this is not an equal sign. This is a multiplication. We're multiplying to convert. So we want the conversions to cancel out. So when you're deciding what goes on top and what goes on bottom, you want the opposite so they will cancel out, like this. Since we're converting hours and minutes, the hours, as you notice, is on the bottom of the first ratio. That means when we set up this conversion, this one, the 1 hour, is going to go on top. So we're going to write 1 hour on top, and then we're going to write the second half of the conversion, 60 minutes, on the bottom. So all we did was take the information that we knew and set it up as a ratio, but now hour on top and hour on bottom cancels out, and we're left with minutes. So when you set up these conversions, they have to be on the opposite. If this one's on the bottom, then the next one has to be on top so they can cancel out. Now, once you get it set up like that, all you're going to do, I'm going to erase this because my PowerPoint's going to pull it up, is you're going to, there's the hours canceling out, you're going to multiply across. Notice this is multiplication here. So we multiply the numerators, 760 times 1, which of course is 760. And then we multiply across in the denominator, 1 times 60, which of course is 60. So we have 760 in the numerator, 60 in the denominator. We have one step left to go. This says 760 divided by 60. So we take our calculator and go 760 divided by 60, and we find out that there is approximately, this is a sign that means approximately, it means that we rounded the number, 12 7/10 miles per minute. So now we know what to label it, or you could look up here, miles per minute, to tell you how to label it. This is something that just takes practice doing. So let's look at another one. Kyrie and 3 friends attend skydiving class. This is in the way, so I can't read it. Before their first jump, the instructor tells them that they will travel at about 176 feet per second. So this tells us what to set up as our first ratio. 176 feet goes on top, and 1 second goes on the bottom. The next sentence will tell us what we're converting to. How many miles per hour is this? We have distance and we have time. First, we notice that we are converting feet to miles. So you have to ask yourself, how many feet are there in a mile? If you do not know that, you can look it up on your conversion chart. But you can learn that there are 5 tomatoes, 5,280 feet in a mile. So that is the conversion that we're going to set up as a ratio. One of these is going to go on top, and one of these is going to go on the bottom to set it up. Remember, this is multiplication. So since the feet is on top, when we set up our next ratio, we want the feet to be on the bottom. So we take this bit of information, the 5,280 feet, it's like we're cut and pasting it. You're just going to cut this out, and you're going to paste it up there. And the mile is going to go on top. So you take this bit of information, you cut it, and you paste it on top. And it would look like this. Oh, I did the time first on my PowerPoint. So I'm going to back that up so I can do it this way. So we would do 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So we just cut and paste them. Now the feet cancel out, which is what we want them to do. So we have converted from feet to miles. Next, we want to convert the time from seconds to hours. So what time conversion do we know? We know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute and 60 minutes in 1 hour. So now you can either do this in 2 steps. You can convert seconds to minutes and then minutes to hours, or if you can figure out how many seconds are in an hour, all you have to do is 60 times 60, and you might want to write this on your conversion paper. 60 times 60, you multiply 6 times 6, which is 36, and you add the 2 zeros. So that means that there's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. So I can either use this one conversion or I can use the two separately. I'm just going to use the one. So notice that the seconds is on the bottom, so when I cut and paste this on the next one, I have to put seconds on top. So I'm going to write 3,600 seconds on the top and cut and paste 1 hour on the bottom. Seconds are going to cancel out. Now we've converted the time, so we're going to multiply everything on top. We have 176 times 1 times 3,600. And on the bottom we have 5,280 times 1. And when you do that multiplication, I'm going to erase all this, because it's going to come up now. Important thing to notice, you notice on my PowerPoint that I converted the time first. And it doesn't matter whether you do the time conversion or the distance conversion first. You can pick. I just chose the distance because it was listed first, but it doesn't matter. And on my PowerPoint here, you can see that I did the 2 steps. I did the seconds, 60 seconds in 1 minute, and then there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. I had done the 3,600 as a shortcut. And then there's the conversion we have with 1 mile and 5,280 feet. It looks a little different than the way I wrote it, but the same numbers are on top and the same numbers are on the bottom. So then when you multiply what's on top, 176 times 60 times 60, and then you divide that by 5,280, you find out it's 120 miles per hour. Okay, this just takes practice, so let's try again. The TGV is a high-speed rail train in France. At top speed, it runs at an average of 320 kilometers per hour. So this tells me what ratio to set up. 320 kilometers on top, 1 hour on the bottom. We're converting it to meters per second. So first we're doing distance from kilometers to meters. And then we're doing hours to seconds. So we have to know those conversions. So first, what conversion do we know between kilometers and meters? If you don't know this conversion, then you can look it up on your chart. But it happens to be that there's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. Once we have the conversion, we're going to cut and paste this information into a ratio right here. But remember, we want them to cancel out. So since kilometers is on top, I want to make sure that I write kilometers on the bottom of my next ratio. So I cut and paste the 1 kilometer. And 1 kilometer equals 1,000 meters. So I put that on top. So notice this conversion is just set up as a ratio right here. Now the kilometers cancel out. Now I have to convert hours to seconds. Well, we just had a conversion like that. You can do the 2-step method where you do 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, or if you know the shortcut of 3,600 seconds in an hour, you can use that conversion. And on this one, I'll just show you how to do it with the 2. So if I set up this one, of course on the PowerPoint again, I did the time before I did the distance, but it doesn't matter which one you do. But if we're going to convert time first, we have 1 hour. Oops, that doesn't show up there in the red. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So we set that up as a ratio. 1 hour equals 60 minutes, and the hours cancel out. Then we know that there is 60 seconds in 1 minute, and now the minutes cancel out. Again, you could have done the shortcut, where on top you could have just put that 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds. If you know that one, see, I could have combined these two into one step. If you know how many seconds there are in an hour, 3,600. And then our distance conversion, since the kilometers was on top, we're going to put kilometers on the bottom. So we cut and paste this on the bottom, 1 kilometer, and then we put the 1,000 meters on top. Now we're going to multiply everything on top together. So we're going to multiply 320 times 1 times 1 times 1,000. And then we're going to divide it by 3,600, which is 60 times 60. And when you do that with your calculator, you find out that it is 88 9/10 meters per second. Okay, you can also use this to convert between systems, 12 centimeters to inches. So if we want to convert centimeters to inches, now we don't have anything on the bottom of this ratio, so it's a 1. So the 12 centimeters is on top of the ratio. So we have to know how many centimeters in an inch or how many inches in a centimeter. Here's the conversion we're going to use. 1 centimeter is equal to 39 hundredths of an inch. You're going to cut and paste these two into the two places right here. Since centimeters is on top, we want to put centimeters on the bottom of this one. So we put the 1 centimeter. Then we cut and paste this, the 39 hundredths of an inch on top, and we're ready to multiply. So we just multiply 12 times 39 hundredths, and that's all we have to do that conversion. Erase that. So there's our 39 hundredths of an inch equals 1 centimeter. We multiply across the top, and it's 4 68 hundredths of an inch. 4 quarts to liters. Well, again, we have 4 quarts. It's not a ratio, so we know it's over 1. So this is on the top. This is the numerator. We need a conversion between quarts and liters. And what we know is that 1 liter is equal to 1 57 thousandths of a quart. So we're going to cut and paste that into a ratio. Since quarts is on top, we have to put the quarts on the bottom. So we cut and paste this, which is 1 57 thousandths quarts on the bottom, and we put the 1 liter on top. Notice each time we're just cut and pasting this. This goes on the top or bottom, this goes on the top or bottom. We decide that by making sure that they're on the opposite so they cancel out. So this time we have 4 times 1 on top, which is 4, and on the bottom we have 1 57 thousandths. And so we divide that with our calculator, and it's approximately 3 784 thousandths liters. At top speed, a giant tortoise can travel about 900 feet per hour. Notice I set that up as a ratio, 900 feet in 1 hour. How many centimeters per second? So this time we're converting feet to centimeters. So what do we know? This is going to be a 2-step conversion. First, we're going to have to convert feet to inches, and then convert inches to centimeters. So since the feet, I think I'm probably going to do the time first again, so we'll do the time first. We're also converting hours to seconds, and again, we've talked about hours to seconds before. We know it's a 2-step process, or you can use the 3,660 seconds equals 1 hour, or you do it in 2 steps. So I think on the PowerPoint I'm probably going to do the time first. Oh, I did the distance first this time. Again, it doesn't matter which one you decide to do first. You have to convert both distance and time. You can decide which one you want to do first. So we have our first conversion. Since feet is on the top, we want to make sure that the feet conversion is on the bottom. Here it is right here. So that's the 1 foot on the bottom and the 12 inches on the top. Now we have inches on the top, so we convert this one. We want inches on the bottom. So when we look at the next one, here's the inches, the 39/100ths of an inch, and then the 1 centimeter goes on top. Now we do the time conversion. I probably did it in 2 steps on this PowerPoint, or you could do the shortcut with a 3600. Let's show what this looks like. Since hours is on the bottom, we want to make sure we put the hours on the top, and we know the conversion that 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So we write 1 hour equals 60 minutes. And now that since minutes is on the bottom, we want minutes on the top. So our next conversion is here. So we put 1 minute on the top, 60 seconds on the bottom. On the top now we have 900 times 12. And on the bottom we have 39/100ths times 60 times 60. So after you do that multiplication and divide, we would find out that the answer is 7 69/100 centimeters per second. A swimming pool is being filled with water at about 300 gallons per hour. How many quarts per second? 300 gallons per hour. Notice I set up as a ratio. Now we're going to convert gallons to quarts. What we know is that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So these are the 2 parts that we're going to cut and paste. Gallons is on top, so we have to make sure that we put the gallon, the 1 gallon on the bottom, and the 4 quarts on the top. Hours to seconds. We know that there's 3,600 seconds in an hour. Hours on the bottom, so we're going to put 1 hour on the top and the 3,600 seconds on the bottom. When we multiply everything on top, that's 300 times 4, which is 3 times 4, add 2 zeros. On the bottom, we just have 3,600. And when we divide 1,200 by 3,600, we find out that there are 33 hundredths of a quart per second. Again, you can see here on the PowerPoint that I did this part in 2 steps, but I took the shortcut and did it in 1 step. Okay, so here's one, 18 meters per minute, but convert it to centimeters per second. Meters to centimeters. So our first conversion is distance. We know that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So these are the 2 parts that we're going to cut and paste into the next ratio. Meters is on top, so we have to put this on the bottom, 1 meter on the bottom. Put the 100 centimeters on top. The meters cancel out. Now we convert minutes to seconds. We know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So we cut and paste these 2. This is going to go either top or bottom. This is going to go either top or bottom. Minutes is on the bottom, so we put the 1 minute on the top and the 60 seconds on the bottom. Now we're ready to multiply everything on top. 18 times 100 is just 1,800. And on the bottom we just have 60, so we divide that by 60. And 18 divided by 6 is 3. These zeros cancel out, so it would be 30. And then my PowerPoint's going to pop it all in there, so I'm going to erase this so you can see it again. There was the first ratio that we set up. There was the second ratio that we set up. And then we were left with 30 centimeters per second. So I hope this helps you with rate conversions.